Hey everyone. We all talk about getting enough sleep, right? But have you ever really thought about how the quality of our sleep completely transforms as we get older? Today, we're going to zero in on one of the most incredible changes our bodies go through, and that's the massive nosedive our deep sleep takes over a lifetime.
All right, let's not beat around the bush. We're going to get straight to the heart of the matter with one single, pretty shocking statistic that honestly puts this whole thing into a wild new light.
So here's the bottom line, plain and simple. Your deep sleep just plummets as you get older. And we're not talking about a small dip or a minor adjustment here. No, this is a huge biological shift that happens to pretty much every single one of us.
And here's where we get that core number. The data is pretty clear. The amount of what scientists call slow-wave sleep drops by a jaw-dropping 80% from when we're young adults to later in life. Just let that sink in for a second. An 80% drop.
Now, you probably caught that phrase I just used, slow-wave sleep. And look, to really feel the weight of what we're talking about, we have to know exactly what that means.
So, yeah, it leads to the obvious question, right? What in the world is this slow-wave sleep that basically vanishes on us?
Well, it's actually super simple. Slow-wave sleep is just the technical name for what you and I call deep sleep. This is the good stuff. It's the most restorative, most rejuvenating part of the entire night. It's when your body is literally in the repair shop, fixing up tissues, bones, and muscles.
Okay, so let's really get into the data. To wrap our heads around that crazy 80% number, we've got to look at two totally different points in a person's life. This is where the story becomes crystal clear.
All right, so think about when you're in your prime, early adulthood. At that stage, about 19% of all the time you're asleep is spent in this critical deep sleep phase. That's almost a fifth of your night dedicated to deep cellular level repairs.
Now, let's jump forward a few decades. Later in life, that number, it just tanks. It falls all the way down to just 3 to 4%. I mean, think about that change. It's a huge cut in your body's nightly tune-up time.
And when you see it laid out like this, wow, it really hits you. This isn't some gentle, sloping hill. It's a cliff. The deep sleep we get when we're older is just a shadow of what it used to be.
And that, right there, brings us full circle. When you do the simple math, going from around 19% all the way down to 3 or 4%, you get that 80% decline. If you take away one thing, let it be that, an 80% reduction in our most important stage of sleep. So let's tie this all together. What's the final takeaway? We've looked at the numbers, we know what we're talking about, but what does this all really mean when you think about it in the context of our own lives? So let's just boil it down one last time. We start out with almost 20% of our sleep being that deep restorative stuff, and we end up with less than 5%. That is a massive 80% drop. And that incredible decline leaves us with a really important question to think about. As this absolutely fundamental part of our biology, our deep sleep, changes so dramatically, what else changes along with it? What are the ripple effects on our health, our minds, our whole experience of getting older? And that's the thought I'll leave you with. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.